So I want to start off today with another quote by Rupert Spira. I think most people were here for meditation, but if you weren't, I'm going to bring in that quote as well. There is a single infinite and indivisible whole or totality from which not only every one, but everything derives its apparently independent existence. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Is there anyone who doesn't believe that? And you don't have to raise your hand. I'm not looking to call anyone out here. But is there anyone who still has sort of like, I don't know. I don't know if there's only this like one thing going on because, I see myself, I see Winnie, I see this floor, I see this building, I see the trees, the mountains, whatever. I don't know if I feel like I'm totally interconnected with all of that. Just checking in. And again, don't need to raise your hand. It is experienced internally as peace and happiness and externally as love and beauty, suggesting that apparent separations among people, animals, and objects are illusory. Okay, so what he's saying here is that there's only one thing going on. Okay, call it whatever you will, but there's only one thing going on. He often uses the word love or consciousness or awareness to describe it. And he's saying that this thing, this energy, this being, expresses itself in a gazillion unique, original, unrepeatable ways. And so there's this one incredible, amazing, fantastical awesomeness that is now expressing as me, that is expressing as Ruby over here in the front row, that is expressing as Winnie, that is expressing as the technology that allows us to connect with the people who are tuning in with us online. That is everyone and everything that is, was, and ever will be. And because there's this only one thing going on, this single, infinite, indivisible whole, there's nothing that's separate from that. Nothing. It's impossible. If that were the case, it wouldn't be one thing and it wouldn't be whole. This little blurb came out of Rupert Spira's new app that I'm so excited about, and it's called Luminous, and he just put it out, I think, within the last few weeks or so, and I downloaded it yesterday on my phone, and I just melted into the first meditation that he offered, because to have him talking directly to me was really, really kind of cool. But what's also really neat is that you can choose your background music. You can have a piano, a flute, or strings, some classical music, and you can adjust the volume of the background music, so it's not just your phone that adjusts both the voice and music. And all of the meditations and little blurbs that he has on there are about 10, 11 minutes long. So it's not that long. There's the actual recorded track. There is a transcript, so you can follow along if you like to follow along and read, which I totally did. And it's Rupert Spira on demand kind of thing on my phone. And so for me, the reason that I feel so connected to Rupert Spira, who is a modern-day philosopher and non-dualist, is because for me, he's taking me to the next level of understanding and embodiment of what we teach in New Thought. With the three main principles of New Thought being, there's only one thing going on. 2, everyone and everything is that. And 3, personal responsibility. We create our life experience. There is no one and nothing outside of us. There is no one and nothing separate of us. There is nothing greater than us that is pulling any puppet strings. The way we use our mind, the way we open our heart, the choices that we make, whether we're aware of them or not, whether we're doing so intentionally or not, all of that is part and parcel of the life that we experience for ourselves. And so with Rupert Spira, his whole thing is, you don't need to try harder. You don't need to remember anymore. You don't need to become anything because you already are that. You just need to be. Which can feel like a tall order, but it also feels super exciting for me because I've been immersed in spiritual and consciousness studies for nearly a decade, which sometimes feels like a long time and sometimes feel like I'm barely scratching the surface. But there's a lot of remembering and a lot of becoming that is talked about. And that's okay. I just would like to bring in something that challenges us a little bit more, like keeps stretching us, keeps pulling us out of our comfort zone so that we don't become complacent or rest on our spiritual laurels per se, that we actually open up to the infinite possibilities of being. So a couple of weeks ago, Glenn and I were working on our values. It was an assignment that we were given by our coach. I talked a bit about this on Wednesday at Elevate. He came up with his, I came up with mine, and we came up with ours together. And the one that I really tuned into today, because of listening to Rupert Spira, was when I was originally writing it down, I wrote it down as beauty. And it was my fifth one. And for me, it was like, it's beauty that I appreciate. Like anything that is beautiful, anything that makes me feel a certain way because it is so beautiful. But then what I realized, it's not the beauty itself that I appreciate, like, which I do. It's the artistry that results in the beauty. It's the artistry, it's the skill, it's the intention, it's the attention, it's the time, it's the energy, it's the connection, it's the divine intertwinglement, it's the unique way that that artistry expresses itself in, through, and as everyone and everything. That just makes my heart expand. It makes my heart sing, and it is one of my personal values. It doesn't need to be one of yours. Values are personal, and they can change from time to time. But artistry for me, I think, has been there like since I was a little kid. And so in addition to that, as I tune into artistry and listen to what he's saying about beauty in the world, I'm also going back to yesterday's 9D breathwork experience here. The journey was anchor into presence. And so we all gathered in a circle, like we do anytime we have a 9D breathwork journey here. And it was a different journey because it was all down regulation. There was no active breath, there was no hyperventilation, there was no primal scream or any thrashing or any of that kind of going on. It was just opening up to and sinking into presence, into being fully aware of this now moment, and then also expanding through that awareness into a deeper embodiment of the presence that we are. And it was such a beautiful journey. It was such a beautiful journey to hold space for as facilitator. During the shares afterwards, it was really neat to listen to what it is that the people brought in and how they were impacted by that journey. And for me, I still feel the beauty of that journey. I still feel the connection, the interconnectedness of everyone that was here and the experiences that were had. And there was something that happened for me, and it wasn't during the journey specifically, it was during the integration part afterwards. I curate a specific playlist so that people have some time to process what has just happened for them so that they're not like done and out. And it was either the second or third tune that came on, and I've used it before, and as soon as it came on, I had this visceral experience. Every single part of my body just went into a massive goosebump, and tears started coming out of my eyes, and my heart just cracked wide open, and it was to the song Coming Home. Coming Home by Anne MacDonald, which is such a beautiful, beautiful, reverential, and just like ethereal tune that just kind of gets into your body, into the cells and the molecules of your being. And as I had this experience, it just really, really made me so aware of how important it is to be aware of who and what we are, but then to honor that by living that. And so one of the things that my husband Glenn and I decided recently is that it's time for us to move. That where we've been living for the last several years, it's not working anymore. And so we're looking for a new place. And we're opening up to something that works better, that fits better, and ultimately to a place where we feel at home, like a home that is a sanctuary. And as I say that, and as I had that experience yesterday of this song coming and having this incredible bodily experience, I'm realizing I want that in every area of my life. I want to feel at home in every single aspect of my life, in my relationships, in my finances, in my work, in the way that I show up in the world, in the artistry that comes to life and unleashes through me. So I'm super excited that I'm going to be taking some piano lessons next month with someone that I really admire and respect. But it also takes me to in here. And all of the beautiful stuff that is in here, and specifically what I'm pointing to right now is the paintings, the art installation that we have here by Shannon Holmes. It just came in a couple of weeks ago, and for those of you who can't see it online, they're big paintings about like this, and they're all starscapes. And so the colors are blues and purples, and they're deep and rich, and it's nighttime. And what I learned at Elevate on Wednesday was that those two paintings there were specifically painted for this space, for us as a community, so that we could be inspired by the beauty of these paintings to meditate more, to tune in more, to recognize the love, the wholeness that we are at our core more. And I gotta say, like, they look really good in the daytime, but at nighttime, wow, it's like they come alive. And so here's the thing. You know, beauty is an aspect of who and what we are. We may not feel it all the time. We may not feel beautiful per se. But if it weren't, we wouldn't recognize it in someone or something else. We wouldn't be able to appreciate the artistry that allows for that beauty to come into the world so that it can be shared, so that it can amplify the love that we are at our core as we experience the love that was offered into that work of art, whether it's a painting, whether it's a song, whether it's a piece of prose, whether it's a piece of clothing, whatever. And so ours is to continue opening up to the beauty that we are at our core. To recognize that that beauty already exists within us. We don't have to find it anywhere. We don't have to do anything to make it happen. And the more that we tune into our own beauty, the more we recognize it in others. And sometimes when we recognize it in others, it kind of activates something within us to then recognize and remember, oh yeah, I wouldn't recognize that if I weren't already familiar with what that was, because it's part of who and what I am. So back to Rupert Spira, he is talking about oneness constantly. He's talking about the experience of coming home to who and what we are at our core. And so he writes, the recognition that we share our being with all people and animals is the experience we refer to as love. The recognition that we share our being with all things is the experience of beauty. Beauty is never the property of an object. It is the felt sense that at the deepest level, what we essentially are and what the object essentially is are the same. It is the experience of oneness. So the title of my talk today is Coming Home to Oneness. And that's what I would like to invite all of us to be more intentional about. No matter what it is that we are doing with our day, no matter how it is that we're feeling, to really know that no matter what is going on, there is this incredible, divine, energetic flow, love, source, God. Whatever word works for you, that's the only thing that is going on. There is nothing that is not that. And the more we open up, the more we surrender to that knowing, the more we trust that no matter what is going on around us, no matter how we may feel in a moment, that there is that in us that is the very essence of our being, that is greater, more powerful, more resilient, more creative than what we have experienced in our life until now. As we open up to that and trust that, oh my gosh, then we show up more as the love we are. Then we recognize it in others around us. And then we realize that love, God, source, all of that stuff is not just limited to living things, animals, people, plants even. It's all of it. God is expressing in everyone and everything, everywhere and every when, no matter what. And so perhaps we could be a bit more reverential. Perhaps we could be a bit intentional. Perhaps we could be a bit more intentional as we nurture those relationships and curate those experiences, because ultimately we are here experiencing our wholeness, whether we're doing so intentionally or not. So in the end, everyone and everything is constantly giving us a taste of that which lies ever present behind and within. And I just realized, let me back up. There's a quote from Paul Cézanne I want to offer first. The purpose of art is to give us a taste of nature's eternity. Okay? So just sit with that for a moment. When we look at something that we find beautiful, whether it's these paintings, whether it's something in nature, whether we hear music, it stirs something in our soul because our soul recognizes that beauty. And as that stirring occurs, it's a remembering. It's an awakening to like, wow, I am so much more beyond my experiences and stories and everything that has got me to this point. I am that energy, that creativity, that artistry, that beauty that I can feel everywhere in my body. For me, especially in my heart. And Rupert Spira's response or follow-up to that quote is, to give us a taste of that which lies ever present behind and within the changing face of nature, that's what the purpose of art is. That's the purpose of connection, and that's what connection fosters and cultivates. So in this month of connection, as we do our nurturing, as we do our curating, as we're showing up as the love that we truly are, then I invite us all to more intentionally, just as Winnie offered in her share, come home to the truth of our being, to our interconnectivity with everyone and everything, to celebrate the love we truly are, more intentionally, more purposefully, and more consistently every moment of every day. Thank you, and so it is.